voted. 42% of 16% said yes. So, break it down. 7.2% of the country broke the law. 6.4% of them said yes. That's actually what happened. Okay, they broke their own constitution and they got dealt with precisely the way that the constitutional courts had already told them they would and been warned multiple times that they would. This is not the first time it's happened. They did it in 2014. They got bitch slapped for it. Why they thought this would be any different, I have no earthly idea. So that's what happened. At this point, you've got two choices. Most of the rest of Spain, even the no voters who are out here protesting today, are now sort of leaning towards, yeah, do you know what, solid, let them have the vote. Let's all vote on whether they have the referendum. We'll say, yeah, have it. In the knowledge that 55% of Catalonia don't want their independence, and it won't go through anyway. Does that make sense? This is a catch-22 at its base. You look at it historically, the other way around, this is a catch-22. Catalonia is a formidably wealthy bit of Europe. Like 16% of the population of Spain controls 26% of its exports, 27% of its industry. Does that make sense? Madrid's not desperate to let that go. That said, it's not the big problem, because the big problem, it's the Basque country. Like, if you allow Catalonia their referendum, their independence, you know the Basques want the same thing. It's not really a shock that the Basque firefighters showed up to block the police from stopping the vote, because they want it as well. They need it to go ahead because they need the precedent. Does that make sense? You allow the referendum, you've set the chain reaction of impossibly dangerous precedents that follows. It means that well, what do they do next? They've got to sanction ETA for a start. Then you have to sanction mass murder. Then you have to forgive the atrocities of the Basque extremists for the last 7 decades. This is a catch-22 of epic proportions, which they still don't completely wrap their heads around. Because, like the Romantics, I mean, a lot of these guys keep equating themselves to the Scottish model. They're nothing like. I mean, Scotland's its own country. It just belongs to a mess. Until next week, I expect. Bless them. Oh, that poor Prime Minister. Poor thing. But I mean, weirdly enough, it is for now and will remain for the foreseeable future part of Spain. I want them to get their independence. No one believes me when I say this. It's for one very, very childish reason. It's their national anthem. Their national anthem. Oh my God. I don't know if it exists on YouTube. If you could find it, give it a whirl. Their national anthem is dark. It is death metal dark. Their national anthem is called El Segadors. It means the Reapers. In the 30 Years' War, when they were forced to house and feed the Castilians, it didn't go down well. They just picked up their sides and attacked everyone, and the war cry, the Reapers, is still the Catalan national anthem. So if they get their independence, what was my plan? I had a plan. They're going to, get their independence, and then they just have to win a medal at the Olympics. Then the rest of the world just has to sit very quietly. Well, there's shit to the Catalan pensioners, because they're the only ones who know the words. It's like the blood, what was it, the blood? Blood on the blades of that fucking thing. It's like Comida Barana on acid. It's an astonishing piece of music. Make an amazing ringtone, actually. It really would. Guys, what happens next? They're going to have a big protest march today. Most of the guys who are in the city at the moment are very, very peaceful. I know where the dangerous ones are, so I can tell you where to not be when. Tomorrow, there's a chance that Catalonia will declare independence. Madrid, and the constitutional courts, along with the EU and the UN, have already said, well, declare it if you want, but we'll all just go, no. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm just praying that it doesn't get all violent again and they don't just kind of cyclically start the whole ball rolling again to repeat everything they've already done. I was going to finish all this off by trying to prove a point to you. This church used to be known as the Cathedral by the Sea. This is nowhere near the sea at the moment. The sea is about 2 kilometres that way, but on the way, the sea used to be here. How do you do this? You know, I was telling you earlier on, the whole city's kind of built in layers. If you did this in 1714, you'd be standing about 12 metres below where we now are. This whole city used to lay much, much lower. Because Barcelona, it had no way to expand. It was trapped between the mountain and the sea. Like, the only way to expand it, you've got to take chunks out of the mountains, dump it down here, and build up and build out. So the coastline looks nothing like it used to. Does that make sense? Just down the road from here, there's a market. It's just a market, but about 2 years ago, one of the fish stands buckled, came through the floor of the market. They went in to fix the floor. They found a village dating from the kingdom of Aragon just sitting under the market. Like, It's not a remain, it's a village. There are villagers and shit. It's like 30 feet below where the city now stands. Yeah? So on our way to the Kingdom of Aragon, I was going to show you where the sea used to be. Yeah. Your stunned silence is very rich. It's cooler than the real sea. Come here.